And here we go. We are live. Once again, welcome everyone to this exclusive session, Beyond Fitness. As usual, every Thursday night at 7:30 p.m., we have great educational sessions bringing to you content that not only will improve your lifestyle, but also help you with your fitness, your nutrition, and with our motto of inspiring people to go further in life. It is with great pleasure that once again I have with me Dr. Tim Errington. And for those who don't know Dr. Tim is actually the founder of Total Health Chiropractic. And Dr. Tim, after for a period of time working in engineering, made a life-changing decision of actually pursuing a degree at Life Chiropractic College West in the United States. Correct? If I'm correct. And you graduated with honors in 2003. And I think it's quite interesting that you apply maybe all the knowledge that you had from engineering together with chiropractic. That's quite a great mix. Dr. Tim is also a well-known speaker and also an author with his acclaimed book, Posture Matters, which I have a digital copy of it and I am reading. And there's actually a passage from the foreword that I would like to read as an introduction so that you all have an idea of the vision and the mission of Dr. Tim and his clinics with Total Health Chiropractic. Posture Matters offers simple and practical options that will not only help you improve your posture, but will dramatically improve your vitality, your resilience, and energy, all leading to greater well-being, productive capacity, and happiness. And Dr. Tim, this is a beautiful foreword, and I think it really ties into this period that we're living nowadays, which is we want to feel vitality, resilience. We want to feel that we're strong and our immune systems are boosted, right? So it ties in very well with the content that you will talk about today. So give us a little bit of an introduction about what can we expect today.
All right, Nuno, thank you so much for inviting me here again today. I've been really enjoying our sessions of sharing. So I am Dr. Tim Errington, and what I'm going to share with you today, I'll get my slides up in a moment, but we have a new situation in the world, and it's called COVID. I think most of us are very aware. And what it needs a new mindset. So I'm going to be talking today about the mindset that I believe we should be starting to adopt. As a chiropractor, Nuno is right, I was an engineer, and now I do apply all the laws of engineering to the human structure. And when I straighten people out, they tend to get better. So we look at life and the body holistically and vitalistically. And basically what that means is that we believe passionately that there's a power inside us that made us, and our natural state is vibrant health. And if we move anything that's getting in the way of that vibrant health, then the body will tend back towards health. And I think this is very important at the moment during this changing world, this new normal that we're coming into, because I think we have more of a responsibility to look after ourselves. So I think I'm going to go and put my slides up.
Yes, absolutely. If you need my help to put them up, just let me know. I'll be controlling the camera and the movement of the camera. There we go.
Right, we're up. So my title today is Life After COVID. So basically, I'm talking about thriving at the moment and beyond, going into the future. And we have experienced a lot of negative in the last 6 months, and I want to start to think of it as a positive thing. This is a changing world, and I think it's time that we start to look for the good in what's going on.
Yes.
What the good that's inside us and good things that we can apply. So whatever happens, I think that we want to make our lives as good as we can with the chances that we've been given. So this is what I'm talking about today. It's basically turning a negative situation into a positive. I've got 5 clinics, Total Health Chiropractic here in Singapore. We have 10 doctors, and we see over 1,200 clients every single week. Nuno did mention that I have a book. You are all welcome to download it. To find it, please just go to our website. The details will be at the end of this presentation. Just go onto the website and you'll see exactly where you can download a digital copy, and that's my gift to you. Okay, so life after COVID. My purpose today is first of all education. If I can teach anybody who's watching something new, then that would be a good thing. I always want to do as much good as I can. I really do believe, and I hope you're with me, that knowledge is power. And if you can gain some knowledge about yourself, perhaps how your body works, or perhaps how you can apply things in the future, then maybe that's self-empowerment. And that's really what I want us to do, is become self-empowered so we can take more control. I think we don't want to be living our lives with a victim mindset, hoping for the best. I think we want to take control.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm going to be talking about today. Okay? And I think that we need to understand more about the virus and the host. The virus lives in the host, we're the host, all right? So we don't want a hospitable environment for that virus to grow in. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I believe that all of us have been and will continue to be either part of the solution or part of the problem. Right? And there's nothing in between, right?
Yeah.
So if you don't take care of yourself, then you are more of the problem. You're more likely to catch COVID-19, right? And we've seen the results. I think there's 750,000 deaths around the world now. And these are generally people who didn't look after themselves, perhaps as well as they could. Yeah. I think that we need strategies and solutions for how we look after ourselves. And I think these strategies and solutions aren't just personal. I think they're corporate as well, and organizations. I think you need to help your people be healthy. We've created a lifestyle that is inherently unhealthy and unnatural. And that's the stage for disease. So what Nuna does at Fitness First is helping people with exercise and helping people be as good as they can be. And that's one of the pillars of health that I'm going to be talking about today. Takeaways, we're going to be talking about posture, reducing stress, very important, nutrition, and I'm just going to finish off with a few very simple desk exercises. And always, I'm going to keep coming back to mindset, right? Your mindset is the most important thing. So COVID-19, we have to get used to the fact it's not going away. It's not. They're talking about vaccines and things. I'll come to that, but it's not going away. It's doing the rounds. There are viral reservoirs around the world, certainly in India, certainly in South America. North America's having a hard time, and then it's popping up. It's now spreading again in Germany and places like that. So it's not going away, and we are very protected by this in this amazing country, Singapore. But at some stage, they're going to have to open the borders, and at some stage, we're going to have to travel. And it's highly likely that we will come in contact with this virus, or if not this one, whatever it mutates into next year, right? So we've got to build ourselves up, and we're talking about becoming more stronger and have more resilience, so that we don't give that virus a hospitable host. Okay, we've had one protracted lockdown. It's unlikely to be sufficient, but we'll see. Again, I've mentioned mindset. Okay, I'm going to keep mentioning that because today I'm going to challenge you to question your mindset, and let's think about making little changes that can help. Okay, I really do believe that we've had a near-miss situation. Now, what do I mean by that? The eventual death rate from COVID-19 is likely to be about 0.1%. That's one person in 1,000. So, that's not such a dangerous virus, really. Imagine it if it had been like Ebola and had killed 30%, right? It's only killing maybe 1 out of 1,000 people in the population, in any population. Ebola kills 30%. Imagine, I believe we've been lucky. And these viruses are out there. And, you know, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the virus in a moment. But I think it's time for the world to wake up. I think it is doing. And I think as individuals, I think we need to wake up. Okay? I question whether medicine will be ready for the big one when it comes, because I suspect they'll probably go back mostly to making money and looking after all the other diseases and cancers, etc., that are prevalent in this world. But you know, I ask you, will you be ready? You know, if COVID had been much more dangerous, will you be ready if it comes back? Okay. So let's talk about this mindset. We live in a world of money and greed and stress, consumerism, governments, corporations, individuals. I think we all need to take a long, hard look at ourselves. Where are our priorities? Is it just making money on money and money and money and money? Because when we look at the real values of life, family life, and when we look at the happiness charts around the world, then you know there's some bad signs actually the way the world is going. So I do think we need to take a good long hard look at what our priorities are. We were warned about 10 years ago that we would probably meet a virus along the way, and that has proved to be correct. Highly interconnected world, immunocompromised populations around the world. It was a catastrophe waiting to happen. I think we've been lucky, right? I really do. So it's time to reprioritize. Let's look at this as a new beginning. I believe, I'm a sports person, so I think we should go on the offense. Let's consider playing a proactive game or a reactive game, offense or defense, if you like. I think that people that rely on medicine are playing a defensive game. You hope for the best. If things go wrong, you go and get some drugs or surgery or whatever, right? I believe in being proactive and going on the offense. I look how I can strengthen my body so it's going to be better in this world. I will live a life of health, vitality, and I'll have less pain. I'll age better. There's so many pluses. Okay. Again, I'm back to that mindset. You know, we can't change the world by ourselves, but one thing we can do is we can change the way we feel about it, and we can apply ourselves in a different way by simply changing our mindset. All right. I believe, and I've been applying this for many, many years, that when I wake up in the morning, I think about the day ahead. I create a beautiful vision for that day, and it always includes exercise. And then I go and live that day. Create the vision, make it amazing, then I live that day, right? I invite you to try it. It works great. I think that what we want from life is actually quality time. And where do you spend that quality time? Do you spend it with things that you buy in the shops? No, you spend quality time having amazing experiences with the people you love. Okay, that's where our priorities need to be. So I believe, and please engage me. Come in the chat. Let's have a conversation at the end. Any questions, please engage me. We can't rely on medicine. It's time for a paradigm shift. We need to start thinking about living a life of wellness. The medical people are amazing at what they do, the specialities, but they specialize in symptoms and disease. If you specialize and concentrate on symptoms and disease, that's probably what's going to happen in the community, and that's what we see. What about the vaccine? I'm sure the vaccine will come sooner or later. Well, if we look at all the other vaccines, at the very best, they work for about 70% of people, and they work for the people with strong immune systems. Please understand what I'm saying here. So the people who are healthy, the vaccines are likely to work for, but the people who are unhealthy, they're less likely to work. So what's good about the vaccine is that it helps get this herd immunity that I'm sure you've heard it mentioned. Okay, But if you're relying on the vaccine for your grandparents, my advice is don't do that. Help them strengthen themselves. Okay? What about ventilators? In the hospitals, people were being put on ventilators. It turned out to be a disaster. People were actually drowning. There was so much inflammation in their lungs, and then they try and force all this oxygen in. It was doing more harm than good. It was causing damage, right? We need to look after ourselves. We've got to think in terms of prevention. We don't have a cure yet, okay? The good news is we were born, you were all born with the most effective solution inside you. And that was put there by God or your creator, and it's your immune system, okay? When we look at disease, when we look at what doctors do, all they can do is help the immune system heal. Doctors tend not to do the healing. They put some drugs in, they whatever, they do some surgery, but then the body has to heal, has to regenerate. Okay? This is next level thinking. Wellness is the future of healthcare. This is next level thinking. I invite you to have a look at it. So, why did I become a chiropractor? Well, I mentioned a little bit about it before. It's because when I realized what chiropractic was all about, and that it really is about getting the most out of life, I studied life and what makes people live. And when we put so much life and health and vitality into our bodies, there is no room for disease. The word disease, dis-ease, it's loss of ease in your system. It's a loss of homeostasis, balance. That's all disease is, okay? I invite you to engage in a doctor of natural health, whether it be a chiropractor, whether it be a naturopath, functional medicine, clinical nutritionist, TCM, all of them that are highly qualified, that have learned their stuff, that are worth their salt. They'll help give you a roadmap to navigate the trials and these tests that are given us on our path, which is our life. If we don't engage, if we're not proactive, then disease, from what I see, is the default. Always remember that 80% of people in Singapore end up with degenerative conditions, of which 75% are avoidable. So let's look at it this way. Disability, symptoms, signs, problems, premature death, right? Put that behind you. Let's look forward optimistically to a life of wellness. We need to be aware. We need to educate. I'm trying to help a little bit here, and it's all about growth. Please start thinking in terms of having a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. Every day should be an opportunity for learning, and the best place to put that attention is learning about yourself and your family members and how you can have this vibrant life so that you will be better at everything. Even loving the people that you love, even just turning up for anything. If you're healthy, life will be sweet. If you're not healthy, it'll dull your life. So let's get the basics right. First of all, I'm a chiropractor. I'm always going to be talking about structure. So I would imagine that some of you already, because I've been talking for a few minutes, are already slumping, right? Gravity takes you there. So let's come with me. I want you to lift your sternum, open your shoulders, pull your head back on your shoulders, engage your abs, okay? You're now back into a healthy posture. This is your default, your reset. I want you to remember it. Just let that soak into your cortex so you always remember. Twice an hour, when you're sitting at your desk at work, you want to be going back to this default, okay? I don't care how you make reminders, but it's really important. Remember, what you do all day, every day becomes you. And move more. We just need to move. We're built to move. I heard it said that, I'm not quite sure on the stats, but somebody said that we are moving 200 times less than our ancestors. They used to move 200 times more than we do. Well, I actually believe it. When I look at the offices that I go to, I don't see much movement. And when I see people working in the fields, then that's where I see movement. So let's go back to this virus just for a second. Let's understand what it is. Is it alive? No. They talk about killing the virus. Well, how are you going to do that? It's not even alive, right? If you do not want it to grow, you just don't give it a host where it can be welcome. Okay, all it is, it's a little bit of RNA, which is a bit like your DNA, and it's inside a lipid, which is a fatty envelope. Okay, it gives you respiratory disease. It preys on the weak, the immunocompromised, and the frail. So let's make sure we don't fit into one of those categories. It causes inflammation, and the lungs filled with fluid. That I mentioned that before. But that's not what kills you. It's the complications that normally you succumb to. So that is things like pneumonia and things like that. Okay. So we've got to make our bodies strong. So, I heard it say, and I've been researching this, and it makes complete sense. Listen to this and tell me whether it makes sense. DNA is everywhere. Everywhere. You can't see it. It's in viruses. RNA and DNA, it comes from all over the place. Every time you take a breath, you're bringing in some viruses. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. Your body then decides, is that little bit of virus, is that little bit of DNA useful? If it's useful to strengthen your own genome, it will bring it in, and it will strengthen you. Natural. This is strengthening you. If it doesn't like it, if it thinks it's not useful, or it's going to cause problems or disease, it will kill it. Okay? Somebody mentioned, and it makes complete sense. If you are a creator of a species, and every now and again you cull the really old and the really, really sick, what do? You strengthen that species. Now, obviously, we don't want to cull the old and the sick. We're human beings. But, if you think deeply about what's going on and what might actually be happening based on the fact we are only part of nature, then that actually makes a bit of sense.
Yeah, we learned that in school. It's what's it called? There's a specific term for them. Regulating mechanism. It's a natural regulating mechanism.
It's a natural
regulating mechanism that every now and then there's these viruses, these pandemics, these things that pop up that are meant to regulate and create balance between our ecosystem, right?
Absolutely. It happens all the time in nature.
It doesn't mean we like it. We don't have to like it because no one wants to wish anyone to die. Obviously, it's not something that we as human beings want to do, and we always want to save and extend life of our loved ones as much as we can. But in terms of nature and regulating mechanisms and biology, it's just a natural thing.
It's absolutely true. Absolutely.
We've just become really good at mitigating the effects of these biological agents on our body.
Well, that's right. And when we look at medicine, they've embraced what we call the germ theory, which basically means that we are healthy until we are attacked by a germ. But we now know that it's not as simple as that. There's germs everywhere.
Yeah, literally.
We have a dog in our house, and I know it's bringing in germs all the time. But in my house, that's strengthening my immune system. I'm a farmer's boy, and in the farming world in northern England, where I come from, there's no allergies. There's no people. Kids are strong because they play in the dirt, and we play with the animals, and you're getting all these bugs and viruses and bacteria all the time. So your immune system is being exercised every day.
Yeah,
I do believe that we need to exercise our immune system. Right now, we've got to strengthen the host. So let's go through. I mentioned mindset. Let's go through the things that I believe that we've absolutely got to get right. First of all, mindset. I'm going to talk about vitamins and some zinc, about moving and posture, hydration. The bonus of if you get these simple things right that I'm going to be talking about, your bonus is going to be a lifelong vitality, longevity, and wherever your priorities are, and probably financial gain. You're going to be better at what you do, whatever you do, because you're healthy, vibrant, energetic, and you're not going to be wasting your money trying to regain health that you lose. So let's go think about mindset first. mindset. We've got to get the basics right. You've got to get the foundational pillars right, right? This is not negotiable. If you get any of these wrong, it'll get you. It'll end in disease. We know that we've got to eat well, right? It's important for digestion. We've got to look after our gut. It's where most of our immune system is, in our gut, right? It's responsible for a huge amount of our health, that and our nervous system. We know we've got to exercise. We'll talk about that. Sleep, so important. That's what happens when you sleep. That's when you are healing and regenerating. That's when all the connections make. That's when all the toxins are taken out of your body by your lymph. Very, very important. We've got to reduce stress, and we've got to have a positive mental attitude. People who are optimistic do better than people who are pessimistic. People live stressful lives. It downregulates their immune system. It downregulates their digestive system. It can't be a good thing. You know, I spoke last time I was on about breathing. You know, I really do encourage you to do some deep breathing. How about before every meal? If you take 10 deep diaphragmatic breaths before you eat, you are, and it's statistically proven that you will digest better.
Yeah,
right?
that is true.
Right? It will stimulate your parasympathetics, and you will digest better. Right? You'll be healthier.
Yeah.
And you can do that. You can do that before you sleep. You'll sleep better. Diaphragmatic breathing. We've got to look after our structural alignment. If you are out of alignment, things start to go wrong. It's just the way it is. We are moving parts, machines, if you like. If those moving bits are out of alignment, they will wear out, and your system will be inefficient, and things will break down. That's where all the arthritis comes from. And you've got to have a healthy nervous system. Okay, brain, which you've got to feed well, and it's got to communicate with our body, and it does that through the spine. So this looking after your spine is non-negotiable if you want to be healthy in the future. Okay, I believe that for each of these you should have a plan. If you don't have a plan, then perhaps what do they say? If you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. You know, please start to think about your healthy habits. Do you have enough healthy habits? Because if you don't have a healthy habit for one of these, I guarantee you've got some bad habits that will drive you.
This is an important conversation, particularly everything that you have on the slide, right? Because for the longest of time, and when we talked about being fit, right, about what being fit means, we're still very often confronted with the misinformation that it's just all about body fat and how much exercise are you going to do, and there's a deeper conversation in terms of creating a fit body. And I'm not just talking about the way that you look and how much body fat you have on your body. So being fit as an organism, a biologically fit organism. And a lot of this conversation about mindfulness practices, taking care of your nutrition, particularly getting to understand how your digestion and your gut is, sleep and recovery, which is very few people are talking about it. Our last talk, when we talked about breathing and how posture affects breathing, right? And it's so good that more of this conversation is coming out.
Yeah, absolutely. We are designed as human beings to be constantly adapting to our environment. Okay, adaptation. That's the body is always adapting. If you go outside and you get hot, you sweat. Your body's trying to cool down. It's trying to adapt. If you go to the gym with Nuno, guarantee he's gonna really stress your muscles. They're gonna hurt, but then they're gonna grow back stronger. Okay, this adaptation. So when we look at how healthy is somebody, we're looking at how well do people adapt and how well do people recover. Okay, that's how we look at it.
Absolutely.
So, first of all, mindset. So I'm going to continue on non-negotiables. First of all, vitamin C. Why is vitamin C so important? Well, it activates and supports the immune system, right? It's non-negotiable. You have to have enough vitamin C. Now, why is it so important that we have to concentrate on it? Well, the body doesn't make it itself and it doesn't store it. So we have to be taking it in pretty much every single day. People don't do a very good job, and there's a deficiency of vitamin C in virtually all Western diets. Where do we get vitamin C? Well, kiwi, peppers, berries, mango, citrus fruits is where you'll know famously, or by supplement, okay? But we must get it externally, right? Now we move on to vitamin D. Vitamin D is something that we can make, but people don't tend to make enough of it, certainly in Singapore, where people hide from the sun. Vitamin D is important because it plays a huge role in calcium and bone. Without vitamin D, that calcium is not going to find its way into the bone. Very few people are calcium deficient, but most people are vitamin D deficient. Why are the bones so important? Well, it's part of the strength, it's part of our structure, but also your white blood cells, which is your immune system, and your red blood cells, which carries the hemoglobin and the oxygen around your body, that's produced in the bone marrow.
Yeah.
Right? We have to look after our bones. Okay? Where do we get vitamin D? Well, we get it from sunshine. But also you should be getting it from food sources. So salmon and tuna, sardines, eggs, liver, cheese, mushrooms, all are good.
All my favorite stuff.
Yeah, me too. all ideal sources of vitamin D. If you're supplementing, it's vitamin D3 that you want. If you get the other one, then you're wasting energy from your body because it has to convert it into vitamin D3. Okay? So vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. You know, when I see people with their bow legs, that is rickets. It's not calcium deficiency, it's vitamin D deficiency. And then gravity is bowing those legs. Okay? Any questions? I'm going through some important points here. Please pop them in the chat. We can discuss them at the end. So the third step, we should be taking zinc on a regular basis. Why? Because it's an antiviral agent. It inhibits the viral replication. That's why it's so important. Okay, so do get your zinc. I know I get zinc because I just love beans and lentils. It's a huge part of my diet. But where do you get? So meat, shellfish, legumes, which is your lentils and your beans, pumpkin, nuts, and then dairy and eggs again. Great sources of zinc. If you're going to supplements, then at the moment during the epidemic, you should be having probably on the high side, but definitely 30 to 50 milligrams a day. Okay. So the next step, move. Now this takes me back to Nuno's area. We need to move more. Simple as that. Remember what COVID is. It's the lungs, right? What do the lungs do? They fill it full of inflammation, right? So we've got to have a good cardiopulmonary system. We have to be fit in terms of our cardiopulmonary system, right? That's your heart and your lungs. Your lungs brings in the oxygen, then the heart pumps the blood, and it takes that oxygen around the body. Okay, so there are various things that we've got to do, but one thing for sure is that we have to do this regularly, and we need steady, continuous exercise. So the government and they say that you need about 150 minutes a week, but work on this: 30 to 60 minutes of steady, continuous exercise. How hard? Well, it's got to be getting your blood pumping. It's got to get your heart pumping, right? It's got to be moving that blood through your system. And you should be doing this probably 4 or 5 times a week. But guess what? If you walk briskly so that your heart really starts to beat, that is enough. Okay? That can be enough. This good circulation, it helps to mobilize the immune system, but it's going to strengthen you in many, many ways. It's going to mobilize your happy hormones. It's going to slow down your aging process. It's going to make you healthy in every single way, right? That's the vital 4th step. And I say this every time. People go, when I say it sometimes, but you know what? It's true. Listen to me. They say that the healthiest people in the world don't exercise. How can that be true? Well, let's look at that one. Where do the healthiest people in the world come from? Well, they come from Greece. They come from Japan. They come from places like that. They're working in the fields. They walk 8 miles to market. At the end of the day, they're tired. They've been on the move all day. Life is activity, right? This is how we're designed. This is what our body needs. Remember, these people move 200 times more than some of us, but that's natural. So by going to the gym, we're doing something very, very, very necessary. We're replacing all this activity that should be part of our life.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I've probably said enough on that one, but it's really, really important. We should be moving every day, right?
Movement is key. Yeah.
Build it into your life. So the next one, okay, this is a big one for me because it's posture. I mentioned before, structure determines function. Your nervous system controls everything. Now let's think about the most important things. Breathing, blood circulation. I could also mention lymph flow. That's how the body detoxifies itself. This is all about flow. Flow. Things have to flow. Okay? In chiropractic, we always start at the top and work our way down. Brain communicates through the spine out to all our tissues and organs, and then backwards. We have to have good alignment. You've got to start thinking of your spine as a vital organ. If I've written there, any postural distortions will always affect the transmission of the 3 most important things. That's your blood, that's your oxygen, and that's your nerve supply. So I'm assuming that most of us on the line are sitting all day. Well, please, we've got to avoid sitting disease, postural stress disorder, spinal deconditioning. What is this? Well, if you look at this illustration, this old lady, you can see she's slouching. So she's grown into this slouched position, this terrible posture. She will be tight and stiff and uncomfortable. She'll be aging uncomfortably. But what's it doing? It's compressing her organs in her thoracic cavity. This will lead to disease because it's going to decrease the blood flow, the flow of oxygen, the flow of lymph. Remember, it's all about flow. We want to live our life in flow, and that's when everything works just right. You know what I mean? You've got to be. We have to align ourselves towards health, or we lose it. Right now, hydration. We live in Singapore. It's a very, very hot, sweaty place. We're losing our hydration all the time. Should you have hot water or cold water? People ask me all the time. Well, you know, sometimes I have hot, sometimes I have cold. Think about it here, though. If you have warm water and add lemon, then it's actually going to help wash viruses, which gets, when we breathe, viruses get into the back of our throat, up our nose, and in our mouth, right? It's designed to get stuck there with mucus. So if we have hot tea or hot water, this will wash the viruses down into our stomach, where they will be neutralized by the stomach acid. Okay. So, you know, I do have quite a lot of cold water, but also I do have quite a lot of citrus water, so which I tend to have hot, and green tea. Green tea is full of antioxidants, but again, it's great for washing those viruses out of the mucus and into your stomach acid. Okay. While I'm on the subject of hydration, be careful of dehydrating drinks. So I mean by alcohol dehydrates you, coffee dehydrates you, and then anything that has got preservatives in, and anything that has too much sugar in, and things that imitate sugar, this will all dehydrate. So be aware. So let's just look at this briefly again. I'm going to give you now as a doctor, a prescription for a strong immune system. Think about it. Internalize this. Build these into your daily routine. You need to start ditching food that's made in factories. If you look on the covers of the food and on the packets and the tins, and what you see are words that you can't even pronounce. They look like they belong in some chemistry lab. Then they don't belong in your body. Okay? They are built for shelf life. They're not built for your vibrant health. Please start thinking in terms of eating and giving your family whole, real food that's rich in vitamin C and zinc. Do get out in the sun. Don't be scared of the sun, right? It's okay to have a little bit of color, just don't burn, right? That's the only rule. Don't burn. The rest, you can have a little bit of color. It's good for you. It converts. You have enzymes in the skin that will release that vitamin D, okay? And then that will take the calcium from your whole real food, rich in leafy green vegetables, that's just full of calcium. That'll take that into the bones, okay? Try going to bed an hour earlier. Try leaving your cell phone out. Buy yourself an alarm clock. Don't rely on your phone to wake up. Stop reading social media just before you go to sleep. It'll probably rob you with half an hour of quality sleep because your mind will be buzzing. Go back to reading a good book. Start thinking about your gut, making sure that it absorbs well. De-stress yourself. I mentioned before, have solutions for de-stressing. Go for walks, positive thinking, whatever it takes. Deep diaphragmatic breathing, all right? Strengthens your lungs and it stimulates your parasympathetics. And then, vitally important, improve your cardiopulmonary fitness with exercise, okay? Now this is the mindset for a vibrant, healthy future. Okay, right, I've been talking a while. I'm just going to leave this up for a moment, and then Nuno and I are going to have a little chat, and then we're going to start looking at any questions that are coming our way. You'll see here there's a QR code. Take a photograph of it. We are here for you. We at Total Health, we partner with Fitness First. Our job is to keep you in the gym. We don't want you getting injured. If you do have injuries, come to us. We'll get you back in the gym as quickly as possible, okay? As partners with us, you can have 20% discount on all our packages, but most importantly, you can come in to any of our clinics for 20 bucks, right? Not everyone else pays 171. As partners as members of Fitness First, you get it for 20, okay? You can't say fairer than that. You'll notice on that, there's also my website, social media. Look at the website. That's how you access my book, okay? Digital book, Posture Matters, and I put that there for you, okay? So I've really enjoyed presenting this information to you. We're going to have a look at the chat. Any questions?
Well, so far we don't have any questions, so we can do a little bit more of a review and a recaps about all the things that we talked. I think particularly this last slide, the one before the QR code. The QR code also very important. Team, please, if you guys were online, you took the photo of the QR code. If you didn't take the photo of the QR code, don't worry, because we're going to share the handout with the slides, and the QR code will be there, so you'll be able to get it. But that last slide, as you were talking through the things of the last slide, I was so happy when I saw you talking about it and seeing all those little measures there, because it just ties in so well with all the topics that we've been bringing on this show, on the Beyond Fitness. We talked about sleep. We talked about the importance of good nutrition. The last workshop, we had a workshop teaching our audience how to read labels, how to look at labels, how to make a really clear decisions between what's a more healthy food and a less healthy or a less preferable food. I don't really like to attribute these labels to food, bad or good, healthy, unhealthy. Food is food. There's some food that's preferential for your health, some food less preferential. And then we had the talks with you also, where we talked about posture, movement, quality of posture, quality of breathing, and I think it's super important. I think one of the things that you said that is really interesting, which still gets some people surprised, which is the those pockets around the world. They have a name for it.
Yeah, they call the blue zones.
But they're called green pockets or something like that, where these specific places in the world, Costa Rica being one of them, Japan, Okinawa being another one, the Greek islands being another one, where people live long and healthy, right?
Absolutely. They call the blue zones.
It's a culmination of factors. It's the nutrition. It's the fact that they are mainly movement-based populations, so they don't rely so much on technological advancements to move around and to do their work. It's a combination of also the way that they look at life and how they manage life and stress and mindset. Mindset being one of the biggest ones in the last maybe 3 to 4 years, where we're talking more about mindfulness. But it's funny that all these ailments that we're now feeling, that we're so worried about, that they also gets us so stressed about, it's modern world diseases that we're pretty much suffering. It's lifestyle induced diseases.
Absolutely is. And the reason why these people do so well in these areas, in these blue zones, it's because they're living their lives with congruence to their genetics. So your genes express themselves in accordance with the environment, and your environment can take you towards disease or towards vibrant health. Okay, so basically they in these areas, they live their lives and they give their bodies exactly what they need. Everything from the way they sleep to everything. And incidentally, there are these blue zones around the world, and they've been clearly identified.
Blue zones, that's it, blue zones. Yes.
Right. But I believe in your country, Nuno, Portugal. I believe that there are little pockets, little areas, little villages that are quite remote, where the people are very healthy.
Yes.
They tend to keep away from the cities.
And they live long. They live a long,
healthy lives. And that kind of lifestyle is available to everybody. And this is what we talk about. And you know what? This is pure chiropractic. Pure chiropractic. It's about living as close to these lifestyles as you can.
Yeah, it's funny that it took you to make me realize it, and then I start looking at in Portugal at the most remote villages, which are more towards the north and inside the north center of the country, and yes, it's an aging population. Yeah, but that's still an interesting fact, because it's an aging population, but they age and they live longer within those areas, which is funny, right? And everybody wants to get away from the villages and go to the cities, and then end up getting sick and decreasing longevity. So it's a matter. I think we need to get our priorities straight. We've got 2 questions here on the chat. Let me read them. Let me read them for you. So we've got Colin Kemp mentioned. Asks us, for us old ones who have lived their lives unhealthy with bad posture, is it ever too late to get readjusted?
Well, I don't know whether Colin wants to tell me how old he is. Probably not, but I'm over 60, right? I know how to look after myself. I want you guys to be as good as me at 60, right? If you think that you've left it a bit too late, then you need to readjust in there, because the direction that you're going in can change enormously. It really is never too late. If you feel your wrist right in there, if you can feel something pulsing away in there, then you've got a good chance. You can still change things for the better. All right? If you've got a pulse, things can improve. If your spine, I get lots of people coming in that have got bad posture like this. When I adjust them and I open up their spine, suddenly we get flow again. The nerves work better. Suddenly they can actually fill their lungs. It improves their vital capacity, just like that. Then you see the lights coming on in their eyes. Then just life gets just better, just like that. It's about applying, creating healthy habits, but it really is not too late. It really isn't.
Yeah, I think
the job is to try and, I say to everyone, it's educate, inspire. I can talk, I can educate, teach all this stuff, but if I'm not inspiring, I'm not doing any good, because I'm not getting any transformation. Right? We only get transformation by changing the mindset, and then the mindset will make you take the actions.
Yeah,
time, but then keep moving forward.
You have all to gain to at least try, because you can't get any worse if you're changing your practices and you're changing in the right way, and you're actually moving towards health and healthy practices. You have all to gain from it. Can you completely reverse some conditions? Maybe not, but you can definitely increase and slow down to a snail pace the effect that aging has on your body, for example, and stress has on your body. So it's something that you can increase, and it's factual. We know that we have certain physiological markers like strength, like the amount of muscle mass that you have in your body, your bone density. Those are all physiological markers that can predict longevity, right? And that's something that we can influence, because it's under our control to influence.
You can influence almost everything.
Yeah.
Really. And this aging thing, I think it's my greatest passion, because too many people come to me with too many regrets.
Yeah.
And once you know how the body works, just the simple things, movement inhibits pain. That's why if you hit your thumb, you shake it, and then the pain goes away. It's simple as that. Movement inhibits pain, right? It's a reflex.
Yeah.
So once we get start to move, you will feel better. You'll have more blood going to your brain. Movement lights up the cortex. As you get old and stiff, you slow down because there's not enough information going to the brain to light it up. So we want this movement to light the brain up, then everything else will work better. It's just getting these basics right.
Yeah, and you mentioned that during your talk, which was the I also don't know the amount of time that we are moving less. I do know that we're moving a lot less than we were, and that's also because the human body evolved over millions of years, while the environment that now we live in has dramatically changed in only a few thousand years, right? We had about 300,000 plus generations as hunter-gatherers, or whatever we were. I don't want to go into the philosophical discussion of hunter-gatherers and paleo and all those things, but we did have more than 300,000 generations where we had to move, we had to hunt, we had to gather, we had to whatever we had to do. It was very movement-based. And then suddenly the digital revolution comes up, and the agricultural revolution, industrial revolution, then followed by digital revolution. And this was over a couple of thousand years, and not centuries. And we haven't, our bodies haven't moved past that yet. And I'm not sure they're going to move past that, because the way that they're moving past that is worsen. So I would rather regress than actually progress in terms of technological advancement. Even though I like all these, I like the advantage of us being here live together, you in your home and me in my home, and we're talking and we're doing this education. This is one of the great benefits of technology. But finding that balance between actually moving your body and relying less on technology is where we also need to look at.
You're absolutely right, Nuno. It sounds like you've been reading my book.
Yeah, well, I have been reading your book. I've also over the last, I think it comes with age, right? Not saying that I feel old or aging, but it comes with maturity, right? and over the last year, over the last few years, and also fatherhood also changed me, and it puts things into a different perspective. And then you start to think more about longevity and how can you be better over the years to be here for your children and your grandchildren in the future, and that puts things into a different perspective. So for me, I'm not so much worried anymore about the way that I look. I'm more worried about the way that I feel, and feeling good will ultimately make me look good also. So it's a win-win situation.
Absolutely. You know, there's another thing that I love to talk about at the moment. Very briefly,
What is
one of the things that we're doing as physiologists, and you as an exercise physiologist, is that we're helping people buy themselves more time.
Absolutely.
I mentioned quality time.
Absolutely.
Most of you out there will become 60 years old at some stage, like my age. Now, at 60, you can be quite old, or you can actually feel very young.
Yeah.
But what's important, and what people don't realize, is what's coming down the pipe. So what's coming down the pipe towards us that people don't realize is technological advancements in medicine and in biotech and things like that. And if our bodies are crippled with arthritis, etc., at 60, we will not. They won't be able to do these procedures on us, and we won't get those extra years of vitality. My job at the moment is to be this good in 15 years' time, because I know what's coming down the pipe.
Yeah.
I might want some of those procedures myself to buy myself another 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, there's huge. Yeah, there's huge nanotechnology and other things and integration. Yeah, there's some interesting stuff, some scary stuff also along the way, but some interesting stuff along the way. But keeping it slightly more practical is, which is what we're trying, and our philosophy also as Fitness First is to teach, inspire our people to go further. It's inspiring members to go further in life, inspiring people to go further in life. It's not just about the way that you look, and we know that looking good boosts your confidence and all those things, but it's the whole holistic approach on your body, and delaying this onset growth of inactivity that is affecting us, and us being working at home more often. We're not even walking out to go to the office and back, right? So the inactivity is through the roof, and that's something that we need to continue to be working on, to teach people and educate them, and creating more movement on the body, and exercise and movement. I distinguish them as two different things: exercise and movement. But it's great, and I love these conversations, especially with you, because we share quite common passions, even though we're maybe a few generations apart. But it's great. It's always great to have you here and sharing these insights about health and how to approach this from an holistic point of view, rather than relying on quick fixes and shortcuts to try to just go by.
Yeah, absolutely.
All good. We have one last question here from Cassie. Cassie asks us a question saying, will exercise too intense weaken our immune systems?
Well, that is an interesting question.
Yeah, we can both answer that.
Yeah, like with almost anything, you can do too much.
Yes.
Right? You can do too much. What we're applying is something called hormesis, and hormesis means something that stresses the body makes it stronger, and that's what the exercise does. We want to change our body, but our body doesn't like changing too quickly, so it needs to adapt. And if you go too hard, breaking down those muscles with very, very vigorous exercise, and you're not allowing time for healing, and you're not developing this hypertrophy of your muscles gradually, then you'll actually get fibrotic change of the muscles.
Yes.
So scar tissue is being built into your elastic muscles, right? So be very careful. Don't go too hard. But also, you've got to look after your form, function. I mentioned before, your joints have to be in alignment. You've got to have when you exercise, you've got to build things gradually. You've got to build core strength before you build the big muscles in your arms, right? Because it's got to hold up the column, and it's got to create stability. So do be careful going too hard. Think about it in terms if you are a bit achy after your exercises, that's probably okay. But I just, if you're causing real pain and your body's pretty good at telling you, then
Yes.
just always work with your body and enjoy the changes. But if you're not getting the changes, or you're getting pain or problems or instability in the shoulder, then it's a structural problem, or you're going too hard.
Yeah. I'd like to add some to that with it, which is there's three things I'd like to just point out really quick, which is first and foremost, the body and the brain still perceives exercise as a stress. So it is a stress to the system. It's a conditioned stress. It's an orientated stress, or it can be a focalized stress, but nevertheless is a stress. So if you are already suffering with stress and you have trouble managing stress, probably not a good idea to add more stress to the body, and particularly on the physical side. Not only it will delay your recovery, but it might increase the reaction of your stress hormones to be further heightened, which is something that we don't want. So balance is the key. There is such a thing as exercising too much, when we all know the effects of that, both physiological and psychological. And then we need to think of our body according to the general adaptation syndrome. There's going to be a stimulus. There's going to be a decrease in performance during the recovery phase. Then there's a super compensation phase where your body adapts, and then you're back. You start to go back to your basic fitness level. So timing of training, intense workouts are great. I also like intense workouts, but the timing of those intense workouts needs to be very well planned. Recovery is a big factor there. One of the things that you mentioned very well that not a lot of people talk, and I'm so glad you talked about this, which is form of the exercise. So I'd like to quote a great strength and conditioning coach, which is Charles Poliquin. He's one of the greatest strength and conditioning coaches. He trained Olympians and several other athletes. And he always advocated this: the last rep needs to be as technical perfect as the first rep. So we sometimes, because the no pain, no gain philosophy is pushing the body too hard and then compromises form and technique. That's when injuries can happen, but you also need to think about what are you teaching your body in terms of form. And we had a whole topic about posture and why posture matters and how it affects breathing, right? So if you're building these bad habits into your exercise where you're holding your breath, you can't hold the position, you're losing form, that's what you're teaching your body. You're not teaching good habits to your body. So that's what we need to also think about when it comes to intensity.
Absolutely. Yeah, you mentioned that when you exercise hard, it's a stress. And it does. It releases cortisol, and cortisol is the stress hormone, and it's doing that for a very good reason. It needs more glucose.
Exactly.
So it needs those glucose in the cells. So what is it doing? It's mobilizing the insulin, and it's so that will take the glucose out of your blood and into the cells where it's needed, and then it will also mobilize your fat supplies to create, it's called gluconeogenesis, which is when glucose is created to provide you that energy for your muscles. So it needs these hormones, and that's when you go into vigorous exercise, it is a stress on the body. But you're right, you've got to be careful that you don't overload your body.
Yeah, recovery is super important, and anyone who's done like competitive bodybuilding or competitive any sort of sports competition, they will probably have had this discussion with their coach if they have a really good coach, where the coach might stop you one day and say, you're doing too much, you need to recover. It's not about training harder, it's about training smarter, and it is absolutely true. And the same thing with us. We don't need to train athlete level of intensity in terms of both intensity and volume. But we do need to recover. We do need to think about recovery as much as an athlete, as an athlete does.
Yeah.
And here we go. That's it. That's the end of our session. I'd like to ask our audience your participation to fill out a form that I am now going to share on the chat group. That form will lead you to a series of questions. We would like to get your feedback about this session, and also some feedback about how can we improve these sessions, and also suggestions, topics that you would like to see covered in these sessions. Please write them down on that form, and then we will get the necessary speakers to talk about that particular subject, or come up with some sort of workshop that can go around that particular topic. Dr. Tim, I will hand over the screen for you for a few moments to say your goodbyes, and then I'll make the conclusions.
Thank you very much, Nuno. Yeah, I've just really enjoyed this session today. It's a subject that I've presented a few times, but every time it triggers things in my mind that I think, oh, I know what I must say next time. These are very unique times. I really think that this moment in history should be a watershed moment.
Yeah.
And as I said at the beginning, I really do think that we have an opportunity of creating something that's negative and making it a very positive thing. So that's my closing message. Look forward with positivity, and start taking your own body seriously. It's the only one you're ever going to get. Look after it, and it will serve you well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. We're going through tough times. This has been a tough situation. It's been a tough situation for all of us, all around the world. It's been a tough situation for us as a brand also, and for our people. But things are tough, but they do have a chance to become much better after this, if we learn our lessons right and we start to make the necessary changes. Dr. Tim, thank you so much for being here with us. It was my pleasure to be here with you. Can't wait to get you here again. So let's keep talking and come up with more education, more topics that we would like to bring to our audience. You have a great rest of the evening. Have your dinner if you haven't had your dinner yet, and I will see you on the next session. Thank you so much.